Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Oh, that was quick. Caught me by surprise. Here we are. Just you and I, Ruff.
Just you and
I. Who do we got? Let me look at the chat for a second, see who's in there. I missed you jackasses last week, but I was away with my wife and family. We took a much-needed little vacation up in the Catskill Mountains, doing some fishing, like Ruffy says. You got to enjoy your life. Swimming in the reservoir. Had a good time. Played some Monopoly.
That week.
What?
This week they had like swift water. You would have been doing swift water rescues.
Yeah, man. Well, anyway, we are back, and sharpen up your pencils, get a little paper, notebook, and take some notes, because you will learn something. There's going to be some guys who don't agree with some of the stuff that we say, the cat might say tonight, but I ask you to take a step back and listen with open ears, and don't listen like you know everything that there is to know. Because you can.
Are we taking glass? That's all I want to know. Are we taking some glass?
I think with permission we're taking glass. We'd have to ask him.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, we got to ask him.
So you playing any golf lately? What are you doing?
No, actually, I told you earlier, my daughter unfortunately was in a car accident. Thank God, knock on wood, everything was great. I was telling you that a couple of guys, she FaceTimed me right away. Somebody hit her from behind in the, hey, watch yourself with that line. She got into an accident on, basically on the highway, but it was doing like 20 miles an hour. She spun around. A couple of guys, off-duty cop, stopped, helped her get the car onto the side of the road, and I was able to speak to him on FaceTime, so everything worked out great, thank God. So
good.
Even off duty, those guys were helping out, you know.
That's the best. Guys are the best, man. I love it. I was an accident.
Then I bought a new truck.
Oh, and you got a new truck. Yeah, you didn't put the picture up. We could have put a picture up. Nice to have money.
Right.
Show it.
I think
let everybody see that babe boy. How many deer carcasses
guy's not
too fit in there?
Yeah, a couple. Colorado, Chevy Colorado.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Probably threw down all the cash on that, right? You didn't pay. You didn't find. You just threw the cash on it. Right?
Nah, I bought it out. Yeah.
What? That's what I'm saying. You went there with a fucking fat envelope and you said put it on the guy's desk and
made him an offer he can't refuse.
Right. You're like Mr. Frana, we don't usually take all cash for this. Well, yeah, well today you are taking all cash. Take your head, push it right into the fucking hood of this car.
Are you drinking tonight?
Nope.
No drinking. Wow. 2
Soda.
weeks? Is it 2 weeks? Wow.
I had a small relapse at the family reunion, and I got blotto because I was drinking. I decided to have a couple of drinks with my brothers, and I drank moonshine, and whoo, you can thank Tank for that one. And that was it. I just said, I'm not doing it anymore. I had a headache for like 3 or 4 days. Done, I tell you.
How long you think it'll last? A month? 2 months?
Well, we got the boat cruise on Saturday.
Oh my God.
I'm just worrying about the boat cruise. If we get past the boat cruise, I'll be good.
Well, you got to have, I mean, again.
What?
Have 1 or 2. Can't you do it? Can't you just do it? I don't get it. Just have 1.
Let me ask you a question. How long do you know me?
Long time. You can't do it.
Is there anything that I do half-ass? It's either 100 or 0. There's nothing in between. It's the way I'm built.
It's nice to have 1 or 2. It is nice.
It probably is. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
But there are guys who can't,
I mean, that comes with everything.
You know.
Going to the gym, working. It's 100 miles an hour. That's it. But I did go fishing and hang out with my boys this weekend. So
what'd you catch?
Nothing. Didn't matter.
What'd you try?
I saw a whole bunch of carp. Huge.
Yeah, it's carp.
Big.
Those are fun to catch. You can catch them with corn. Actually,
my son told me to catch them. We just had lures. We were throwing the shiny lures out, and
yeah, you're not going to catch them with the lure. They're too just like bottom fish. Yeah,
they were huge. I'm like, holy shit! A couple of them were popping out of the water.
Yeah,
it's nice.
No sunnies or nothing?
No sunnies, man. Nope. Anyway, that's it. So we should, like I said, sharpen the pencils. The captain says he's open to fielding questions. And that's it. Oh, we got to play some commercials. I'm sorry. Tank's upstairs in my son's room because he's here for the boat cruise.
Bloop, bloop.
I can't get him to the stage. Why? Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. You want to play a couple of commercials for us, or you want me to do it?
I would love to play whatever commercials you tell me to, because you didn't tell me which ones are playing tonight.
Little buddy, Vince, and let's play the sticker guy.
The sticker guy. Oh, the Collectors Club guy?
No, it's the
Identifier.
Do it. All right.
So identifier, and which one's Vince?
Armor Tough.
Guy.
Armor Tech,
Armor
Tough,
Tough.
Tic Tac, whatever the.
Here we go. Armor Tough and identifier. Let's ride.
All right.
When it comes to firehouses, the floors take a beating. Boots, waters, tools, apparatus traffic, it just never stops. That's why departments like the Gloucester City, New Jersey Fire Department and so many others trust Armor Tough flooring and tile. From the hallways to the training rooms to the apparatus bays, Armor Tough delivers a clean, professional finish built to handle the daily grind of the job. Durable, seamless, and designed specifically for high-demand public safety environments, this isn't just flooring, it's infrastructure you can count on. And it doesn't stop at the floor. Take a look at the Grove's Gear Racks, built with integrated security features to protect turnout gear, personal equipment, and department assets. Secure storage, smart design, and built to last, because your gear deserves the same protection you provide to your community. If your department is ready to upgrade its space from the bay floor to the gear room, reach out to Armor Tough Flooring and Tile, built for the fire service, built to last. When you're on scene, seconds matter, visibility matters, and your gear, it better perform, no excuses. At Identifier, we get it because this isn't just business, it's the job. We provide high-quality helmet identifiers, accountability tags, and custom safety solutions built for the fireground, not the showroom. Our products are designed to take heat, hold up under pressure, and make sure your crew is seen, identified, and accounted for fast. Whether it's a working fire at 2 a.m. or a routine call, clear identification can make the difference between chaos and control. Gear up with professionals who understand the job. Be seen, on scene, at identifiersafety.com. Use code SALTY to save 10% on your next order.
All right, Ruff, we're going to bring him in. You ready?
Did you see what Gabe wrote?
Window treatments in the guest room need work. That's great. What guest room? The one that Tank's in?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why? Because I opened the curtains all the way. Yes. That's my dining room,
freaking
dick.
Funny.
Yeah. All right, let me bring him in here. Are you ready? Are we ready?
Bring him in? All right.
I wrote him a little something. So here he is. He's most certain with the KO curtain, bro. He's the town crier when it comes to the wind-driven fire. He always has a plan with the exhaust fan, brother. He's MC Fresher on the positive pressure. What the? He wrote the script on the cock loft tip, and unfortunately, he's done, as he's no longer the captain of Rescue 1. And here we go. Let's bring him in. Go ahead, Ruff.
Oh my God, that's
there he is. Hank, what are you doing?
Dude, that was freaking awesome.
Thank you.
I'm not hearing you guys.
Oh,
What?
What happened?
I'm having
wait.
trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Hold on one sec. How is that possible?
Someone go out and come in.
I wasted that whole monologue and I didn't hear it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Just,
go out and come. Testing,
How
you
about
got
now?
it?
I can't hear you.
All right, go out and come in.
Go out and come back in.
All right.
We'll talk amongst ourselves.
Dude, that was freaking awesome, bro.
Thank you. I wrote that in 5 minutes.
Did you?
I did.
Let's hear it again, quick.
You want to hear it again? He's
Yeah.
most certain with the KO curtain. He's the town crier when it comes to the wind-driven fire. He always has a plan with the exhaust fan. He's the MC Fresher of the positive pressure. He wrote the script on the cock loft tip, and unfortunately, he's done as he's no longer the captain of Rescue Company 1. Amen, brother.
How do we talked to the guy for an hour and 15 minutes before the show,
and all of a sudden, I had something going on with. I'm going to sue them. That's what I'm going to do.
Sue everybody.
Sue StreamYard. That's what the hell I'm going to do.
Yes, do it.
Yep.
What happened to him?
I don't know. I don't know where it went. But anyway, you know who else I got to thank? Gabe Fox, even though he's breaking my ball, always checks on me to make sure I'm holding tight with the alcohol. You know what I mean? He's a good guy, that Gabe Fox.
You say so. Yeah.
What do you do? Reboot his whole computer or something?
Lost him.
I don't know. Yep. My rapping killed the audio, somebody said. Could be. All right, anybody have any questions while we sit and wait? Anybody? Oh, there's Procaccini. Oh, you know what I wanted to say? I had a good idea, Ruff. I'll just say it on the air without even asking you. But I'm thinking next year we take all the people who are membership and we put them in a little bingo thing, and the winner gets to go on the boat cruise with a guest. What do you think?
I think it's great.
We have to have a backup too, because if the first person can't make it here, wherever they're from, then the backup will go in. So
yeah,
get in there and get your membership, and you have a chance to come and hang out.
First 5
on the boat, maybe. Yeah, you get to hang out with Galleon, with the captain, Gonzo, Tank, me, Lou, all the guests. Some of the greats.
When's Gonzo coming tomorrow?
Gonzo's coming tomorrow. Tank's upstairs right now. Yep. No, Darren. Rob P will not sign up. That guy's Ebenezer Scrooge.
Look at it. He says, I'm out. That's your boy too.
I know, right? I brought him out to Indianapolis. You think he would spend $5 a month? Cheap bastard.
Boys like that. I mean, what guys like that? I mean,
please. Yeah.
And he's supposed to get you on the fire floor. He's supposed to help you out, right? No.
With what?
If you leave you in the membership, they'll leave you on the
fire
floor.
You at the membership, they'll leave you on the fire floor. No doubt. Absolutely. You'd be gone. What does it say, Gabe Fox? Coops for what? Show everybody how he drinks till he shits his pants. I don't get it. All right.
I got 5 kids.
What the hell's going on here? Where's the captain?
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. Stay low and go. We'll see you.
You want to call him?
His number. You want to call him? Tank.
He's calling.
Okay.
What else?
Is this?
Here he entered the studio.
How about now? There you go.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, here we are.
All right.
Thank you for the introduction.
That you didn't hear.
We did it twice.
We did it twice, just in case. But anyway,
thank you.
It was very flattering.
Well, here I am. Well, here I am now. I made it, and let's rock and roll.
But first, Tank, we got to get patriotic. We will never start a show without doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
100%.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There you go. And no matter what side of the aisle you fall on, you still pray for our troops because they are in harm's way. And we want to send all our prayers and love to them. Because it wasn't over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? No. Animal House. Yep.
There you go. Good.
All right, where would you like to start, Cap? Let's you lead this one because you are like I said before. You know, he always has a plan with the exhaust fan. He's the MC Fresher with the positive pressure. So let's do it.
So I think why it's important. I mean, obviously, listen, you guys have a phenomenal podcast, and you guys have been doing so much good, for the fire service, kind of like opening up and learning and and educating like the next generation of firefighters that come up. You know, everything from the plane crash in Brooklyn, right? You guys did an amazing job on that. You know, and you know, as much of all the fun a lot of the programs have, which is, you know, is what we do, especially in the kitchen, no doubt. But there's another side to the fire service that you all know, that, you know, especially with our careers, right? We're professional firefighters. And yes, we have a tremendous amount of fun when we're working in our tours, but at the end of the day, it's a profession and it's a craft. And in amongst
a heart
all
attack.
of, yeah, you know, and again, amongst all of that, you know, I don't care what iron worker or welder, whatever, there is, the more you know about your craft, the better you are at it. No doubt about it. You know, so when it comes to the fire service, and believe me, this is, you know, it's almost by accident how I got involved, at least on the deeper level. But fire science and the science of fire is something that I know personally. The more you understand, the more you know, you're going to recognize things on a fire ground and then make decisions that are based upon what you see. Do you always get it right 100%? No. Is it, you know, is it like an exact science, so to speak? It is, but there's so many variables in any given fire that it's hard to always get it right. But I guarantee you know that the more you understand, the better you are at making those decisions, because you're not going to be fooled as many times. Right. You know, and so I think, you know, what we can start is, what I'm going to kind of go through is exactly what we put together, the FDNY put together to teach the probie classes. They get 1 day of fire dynamics. It really needs to be a couple days, but they do a nice job in 1 day to kind of educate them in ways that I know the three of us, when we were going through probie school, we definitely did not get. Right? We did like
too much peace officer training.
Well, that's
it was 5 days of that.
You know, or CFRD, right? Yeah, absolutely. Like that has, there's so much that the probies need to know that sometimes you don't have enough time to teach them, you know, everything, you know. And so, but we did at least get 1 day in, and this, you know, this is a testament to our job. Again, chief of safety, chief of training, the chief at the Rock, you know, we're all integral in saying, no, this is important. We need to know it. Bingo. Let's have at it.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Because when you're a probie, you see things through a different lens. When you have 5 years on, you see things in a different lens. When you have 10 years on, why not bring the guys back and show them the same stuff? Because they may see things differently at that point in their career. You know?
What do you mean, bring them back when? The probies?
Bring back firefighters at 5 years, at 10 years.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But that's what annual education day is supposed to be.
But do they teach this at annual education day?
It depends on what cycle they're in. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. No, doubt. Here's another one. Here's an interesting concept. Tom Galvin said this. Now, do you remember the mid-90s? Remember there was a bunch of fires there. We lost 11 firefighters, I think, in just maybe 11-month
94,
period.
95.
Yeah, it was like, you know.
The Watch Street fire was the first one. Yeah, they were all in a row.
There you go. Yeah. Bam, 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 right? So a lot of those had engine problems, right?
Correct.
If you remember, right? So what did the job do? The job said, we're
back
going to
to basics. Correct.
Bingo. So I know Jerry Tracy had a hand in that. John Salka had a big hand in putting that together. Andy Fredericks had John Grosso. These were all guys that put all this stuff together. And so years later, and it was a great concept and it was really good. But here's what Tom Galvin said about that. You know how much that costs to teach every firefighter in the city of New York on overtime, right? Because we have union rules
Some ridiculous
and instructors and everything. You're talking back then, it was like $11 million. And Tom Galvin's line to me, or to us that we're talking about this, goes, because they want to do a back to basics truck. Richie Portello was pushing for a back to basics truck. And Tom goes, guys, it's $11 million. And basically what we're going to teach back to basics, isn't every officer in every company supposed to be going over basics at every tour at drill period?
Multi-unit drill. You could do it every week, for God's sakes, right?
So yes, it's a great concept, but you can't always fall back on that. It really has to happen in the firehouse on a continuing daily basis. Some officers drill a lot, some don't. Some companies drill on their own, and some don't. And until we got that universal, but you get the point. And so Kevin, you're 100% right. Bringing them back to learn this stuff, and we're slowly doing it. And here's how the fire department, how the FDNY is doing it now. They're doing a 2-day boot camp, and in that 2-day boot camp, and if you notice the shirt I'm wearing,
for the whole job or just
yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
But it's you have to like be asked to come to the class right now because they're doing it in between the Proby classes because the Rock is the time and
busy,
logistics of moving everybody around. You got to kind of space them out. But Mike Myers is committed to everyone getting it. It's just going to take a long time.
Right.
But anyway, the shirt I'm wearing here, this is Underwriters Laboratories Fire Safety Research Institute, right? This is a boot camp shirt. When I was teaching for UL, this is the shirt we would wear. The FDNY has taken that multiple day course and boiled it down to 2 days, simply because logistics of 2 days and money for overtime. It's a 2-day course, and in that course, they're going to get pretty much exactly what I'm about to show you guys, as well as a lot of other stuff. Some demonstrations with alcohol prop or water mapping prop. So they are getting it. It's just going to take a long time before everybody gets it. They're focused on officers right now. If any officers go back to the firehouse and teach the members.
How often, John? How often are the flashover? How often do they get that? Is that every year too, or that's?
So the flashover container got shut down there for a little while, and I think they just re-upped it for annual education. They were doing that for.
That was great. Yeah. That was pretty good, man.
Again, is it a real fire? No, but
you could definitely
the components of what ventilation and how a fire reacts.
You know what the best thing about that was how funny as a guy who's 5 guys back compared to the first guy, like how incredible the difference is of the heat that you feel being the first guy, even the second guy. Like you don't. So the third or fourth or fifth guy, we make fun of the squads like, move in, push in, come on, let's go. Meanwhile, you're the fifth guy. Literally, you could be sitting on a beach. You have no idea. Meanwhile, the first guy, everything is burning, like to the point where he's like ready to get the hell out of there.
Again, and the science of that is if a guy's in there for 2 or 3 minutes trying to push down a hallway, and now someone fresh comes in, they're like, it's not that hot in there. But the guy at the nozzle, he's already saturated.
He's absorbed that, right? He's absorbed it all.
You
right.
have to realize
switch out. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And again, that's the science of thermodynamics on your gear.
Right, because how often is that? Honestly, how often are you in a spot where you are taking that full blast like that? So to go to that and actually see the difference between first, second, third, fourth, and rotating and like watching it, I thought that was one of the best things, honestly.
No, absolutely. Hey,
you know what I think of though? Like you talk about cost and getting the guys down there. I think about when we went through the training. We would go on our own time. Basically, you would go away to a different state to train. You would come off the truck, going out to rescue school for a week. We would do it because we wanted to do it. So,
no doubt. Listen, whenever you can have an opportunity to learn something, you take that on because you never know, and that's the other thing too, is you never judge the book by its cover. I've seen officers or let's say instructors that don't look the part and they were phenomenal instructors.
Right.
The way it is, they may have a ton of experience. They might be a little bit older now, whatever. So, but our rock too, when we went through there, there were some maybe instructors there that were, let's say, didn't want to be in the field. They changed all that. In fact, when I taught in 97, the deal was to come down, give back to the job and go back to your firehouse. It wasn't like you were locked down there for a year or two. It was one class, you went back. I ended up doing 2 classes just because I loved, Steve Alexander from 290 was the chauffeur. He was down there with me. There were some great guys. They were just great guys.
You think about the guys who were down there when we were down there, like, where the fuck they get this guy from?
Exactly. So,
the best guy I had was Quickie. When Quickie got lifted, he was there.
Oh, he was there, was he?
Yeah, I laugh now like that. The fire, the fire simulator was fucking propane. Like it was crystal clear in there. It was like so stupid. It was not even like.
But even when you try to replicate a real fire, you can't get it as horrific as like the basement fire you were just describing before.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't do
Yeah,
that.
you can't talk about it. Yeah.
You try to get it close, but you can't get it the same. It's not. It just isn't.
Right.
So that's just the way. Anyway, so basically, with this one-day fire dynamics class, we're giving them the basics. I mean, think about when you and I and the three of us went through, right? We were basically told the fire triangle. Here's your three components. Okay, now let's go outside, throw some ladders, spread some hose, right? That was it.
You never. I mean, honestly,
fire tetrahedron.
Yeah, right.
That,
exactly.
It was
right. Nonsense,
nonsense, really.
deep,
It was
right?
nonsense.
That got 3D.
Yeah, it was nonsense, really.
Exactly. So anyway, that really that's changed. The mentality and the understanding of what you need to know has changed, and so I think it's valuable for. I'll try to I tried to go through that PowerPoint and pick out the things that I think really resonate in truly understanding what we do. And you guys, you guys will be the barometer for that. Like you'll say, I never heard that before, or I have heard that before, or wow, I never thought of it like that. And I think that's really some of what for me, when I teach, no matter where it is, when you start getting some of them light bulbs going off, especially in young firefighters, I mean, to me, that's gold. And that's why we love what we do. We love our job. I still love teaching, but I also know once you retire, your window is relatively short. Because not that you're irrelevant, you're not irrelevant, but my experience, my cache of experiences, I'm not building on it anymore.
No.
Time to stop.
Things change, new things develop. So
right. So at one point, I'll say sayonara, but until then, I try to, I'm involved with the international.
Hanging on
a little bit.
Until then, he's going to keep cashing the checks, and everything will be fine.
Getting shirts with logos on it. It's very nice.
Yeah. So this boot camp that UL was doing now, the International Association of Firefighters is going to be spreading that knowledge. And we've been to Houston, we've been to Las Vegas, we're going to I think LA City, and I think Honolulu are next up.
Honolulu.
Honolulu.
So that's
nice.
nice.
Can you need somebody to carry your valise for
Yeah,
you?
I'll carry the projector
surfboard.
overhead. Whatever. I'll carry your computer. Whatever you need.
You can carry my surfboard. How's that?
All right, cool.
Holy
Anyway,
shit,
yeah.
that's nice.
So I still really, really do enjoy that. As well as I teach around the state here and there. I just up in Syracuse, as you know. So anyway, it's all good. All right. So, shall we start?
Let's do it.
Let's go to number one. And number one, be curious, not judgmental. That was my tip of the day when did my particular session with you guys. And I got a little clarification here. As usual, when you do a podcast with you guys, you then get phone calls afterwards. So I want to clarify that the evidence that Walt Whitman actually said that statement, maybe not necessarily true, although he's attributed to it. But my dear friend from the Freeport Mafia, Frankie Fee, pointed that out to me.
Of course.
Wow.
10-4, Frankie.
Who knew he was such a historian, such a scholar?
Exactly. And he was actually listening to me. So I take that as But anyway, it's true, because when you travel and you go to and you guys are doing it. When you talk to firemen from other cities and departments, we do things a little bit differently. We have the same mission statement, right? It's about them. We get that, but don't immediately think they don't know what the hell they're doing. Chicago, in particular, with the triple deckers, right, and hitting it hard from the yard. They've never stopped doing that. And there's when you talk to them, there's a reason why. I think 214 might have had a combination nozzle on their hose lay, right, in Bed-Stuy. They had that for years. Don't be judgmental. Just go, hey, why do you do that? You know why they did that? For brownstone fires. Because the term, when you have to remember back in the day, and we'll talk this a little bit later about the science, how the science was able to change our tactics, but you had to go up the parlor floor no matter where the fire was in the building. That was a rule. So you up the parlor floor, if the fire is below you in the basement, you got to go down the interior stairs, make another turn, and go fight the fire. They felt that the higher pressure in that hose popped the kinks out. Guess what? They were right. So don't be judgmental. Just say, hey, why do you guys do that?
Right.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
That's the disclaimer I gave in the beginning of the show. You think you might know it all, but maybe you don't. You're
You
never
don't.
too old to learn anything.
100%. So, yeah. So I love that statement, and it kind of covers a lot of things. Let's go to the next one. Chief James Braidwood. Who the hell is this guy? Right? Look when he was born, 1800 to 1861.
Wow.
Now, he died in the line of duty. Okay? He died next to his men at a warehouse fire in the London Fire Brigade. Okay? Now, listen to what he said. The door should be kept shut while the water is being brought, and the air excluded as much as possible, as the fire burns exactly in proportion to the quantity of air it receives. As the
And that's
fire
in the
burns
1800s.
exactly. So he probably said this in 1840 something. As the fire burns exactly in proportion of the quantity of air it receives. Notice he doesn't mention the fuel load.
Right.
Right now we know the fuel load back then was a legacy, right? Cellulose-based cotton,
Wood.
Horsehair, right?
Yeah.
things of that nature, right? But it was all about the air. How come I was never taught that concept? Don't know. Brilliant individual, by the way.
Yeah, if they're talking about in the 1800s, where to get lost. I mean,
exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. So, great. If anybody has an opportunity to dig into Braidwood, phenomenal dude. Went from Edinburgh to London Fire Brigade, blah, blah, blah. Really incredible stuff. But that science of fire, you got to remember, the New York City Fire Department has always been at the forefront of firefighting. From 1865 through 1900, 1910, 20, they were always at the forefront. Okay, if you go back, now obviously WNYFs don't go back into the past 1940, but if you go back to the old fire college stuff, our chiefs and our members really researched this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were really brilliant individuals and started writing it down,
Yeah.
And so that's what a fire college is all about. And that's where the officers would go to learn about how to become a lieutenant, captain,
Right.
chief, and things of that nature. You ever have an opportunity to go to the man library, which I know, Kevin, you have, right?
Yep.
I know, Louis, have you been there at all?
Yes, I have.
It's amazing what's in there. It's incredible, the amount of information there. But if you go back to the old fire college stuff, they really thought long and hard about, how we fight fires and why we do what we do, why vertical ventilation is important. Why
And they weren't afraid to send people to other countries to see what they were doing, because who was it? The commission, was it Kenlan sent a guy over to Europe to look at the Draeger mask, the smoke mask, when they were forming the rescues. So they sent somebody over there to look at it, to give, what they thought about it, came back, and that's when they formed Rescue One with these smoke helmets. So they weren't afraid to send people wherever to get information,
How about in World War II, they sent 2 chiefs and a firefighter over to watch the Blitzkrieg during World War II.
I remember hearing
that. Yes, I did hear that. Yes.
Right. And when they came back, they received medals the next medal day, because it was no joke. They were amidst the bombings, and they wanted to see, because they felt after England fell, what do you think the Nazis' next stop was?
Come here. Yeah.
It's going to be New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they were preparing for it. How you shored buildings up, what the best way to fight conflagrations and things. So, So the New York City Fire Department has always been at the cutting edge of all of this, right? So now the next slide is 2 WNYFs. And if you notice them, right, one is the chemistry of combustion, and that's the first of 1950. And those of you that don't know what the WNYF is, it was a quarterly periodical. Now I think they're doing it twice a year or something to that effect. But
yeah, something like that.
Quarterly periodical that pretty much was the cutting edge of firefighting, right? First issue of 1950 and the third issue of 1953, the chemistry and physics in firefighting.
Yeah.
Think of that. Brilliant stuff. If you guys have ever done this, you go back to the 50s WNYFs, and you look at what the chauffeurs needed to know for engine operations, right? MPOs, it looked like calculus, right? But yet, what were we taught?
50 years ago.
We were taught how to short buildings up, because they felt after England fell, what do you think the Nazis' next stop was? It was going to be New York. You know, So they were preparing for it. How you short buildings up, what the best way to fight conflagrations and things. So, So
What, the Ross relief valve?
Well, you're right. No, you're right. But right, you're 100%. But you had
Now you do this. Boop, boop.
exactly. Very good. So now we were taught street hydraulics, right?
Right. Oh, yes.
Very
yes.
simple.
Right,
Yep.
20 pounds
Okay,
each
so
one, whatever the legs were, right?
Floor
Right.
going up. Yeah.
So how did we go from the 1950s when they're talking about the physics and chemistry of firefighting to what we were taught? And I have a theory. I don't know if it's true. My theory is, as the war years approached, 66 to 77 roughly, you can span a little bit there, right? We were in such survival mode as a department. Money. Remember, in the early 70s,
Had nothing.
the federal government
mess.
told Mayor Bean to go
Pound
scratch.
sand. Yeah.
Right. So they had no money. The rigs were, I don't even know if duct tape existed back then, but they were just trying to get through each day in one piece. There were fires everywhere. So you didn't have time to be getting deep into all this stuff. You had to promote when you had to promote. They were losing a lot of firefighters every year. There were tremendous amounts of fires, right? Yeah. I think that brought us back to this basic foundation of knowledge, and we didn't have the time for that other stuff. Right.
Well, you talk
That's all it
about
was.
closing firehouses, laying off guys.
Right.
It was survival mode.
I would go with that.
Yeah.
And that's what that's why if you ever bring up stuff to those guys about this, it's like you're talking like
what old school
Neanderthal.
Guys hitting
well, I'm just saying,
outside.
like they're like, dude, going down the basement or whatever, any of that stuff, because like you said, that's all they did, and they had to do it. There was wasn't spread out like it is, now fire to fire or whatever. It was like every day, all day, nonstop. There was no thinking about any of that stuff,
Exactly. And
I would agree.
I remember their empirical knowledge was gaining it every day because they were going to so many fires. But even think about back then. Did you ever see the whole thing about the nozzle that you could control the pressure from the nozzle?
No.
Was it
Grumman made it. Grumman, it's
Grumman.
in the WNYF article. Grumman made it. So my point, what I'm getting at was, even through some of that, they were still experimenting with different things like the wet water,
rapid water. Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
All that.
Right.
They were still playing around with stuff, but just maybe not to a grand affair. The whole thing with that nozzle, there's a WNYF article. It was a big nozzle and a little antenna, and then antenna sent the signal back to the rig. So the chauffeur would park, get water, start pumps, and then chase kinks. And the nozzle man could click the nozzle one way, 10 psi up, click it the other way, 10 psi down. Right.
That's pretty cool.
Wow.
It is, okay, but they were looking to eliminate the chauffeur. So Grumman worked on this for years, and it worked really well. And what the members in the FDNY, the few companies that had it as a pilot, what they would do is after they put the fire out, they would take it to the curb, bang it on the
smash
curb,
it. It's not working.
And the guy from Grumman supposedly would come in and go, "We work on this thing all the time. We make it bulletproof, but it's always broken. We don't know how this is happening."
I don't know how that happened, bro.
And in time, that was the end of that.
By the way, for the guys out there, the WNYF is all digitized now, so you can go back and look at any issue from any year. They have them all online, bro. I look at them all the time. It's great.
It's a great snapshot of where this department was.
In the back, you could see what the guys from each firehouse would write.
Oh yeah,
that's
the old hands. That was called
the old hands. So great.
Yeah.
If you knew a little bit,
and a lot of backstory.
Oh my God! If you knew the backstory of what was actually going on, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely priceless. It was freaking priceless. If you knew the guy that they were talking about.
And as I said before, that we have some very brilliant individuals on the New York City Fire Department, especially when it comes to writing.
Oh my God.
They're very good at it.
So good.
Anyway, all right. So we know there was this basis of science back in the day, and then we think it got a little derailed in between. And, if we were now to boil things down to the most basic concepts, put up the next slide. And here we have.
Do you want to see this in between first? Do you want to see the?
Okay. Yeah. Let's look at this. Sure. Okay. So what do we have here? This is a photocopy of the original draft that was to become Ladders 3, right? By Fireman John O'Regan, Ladder 30. Fireman John O'Regan. He ends up being the captain of 30 truck. Right. Years later, when the original Ladders 3 comes out in 1969. But that particular document you have there, right? So fast forward a little bit when we get into the ventilation understanding and the job in around 2010, trying to understand better about ventilation and what we have written in our books and what we need to change and things of that nature. We had these ventilation focus groups, and we had about 13 or 15 members would come in, all picked by the divisions, and we would just go around the table and say, hey, what is ventilation? Explain ventilation. Explain ventilation. When does the outside vent take the window? And everyone was all over the map.
For life, right? As soon as
Yeah.
they have water, like you could probably,
Right.
if he wants to make a quick search, like this, there's 1,000.
They understood it had to be coordinated,
Right.
but the coordination might be, I'd see him charge the line, I'd count to 10, I'd take the window. I hit him, the truck forcing the door in the interior, right? I figured once they
Or if you
forced the
saw
door,
somebody,
yeah, right.
if you saw somebody,
that would be that's different. If you see somebody, you hear someone, no, then you go right away.
Right.
But we're talking more about the timing
Oh, all right.
of that line moving in. Anyway, it was all over the map. The water hits the window. That's when I take the window. Whatever. So at one of them, all right, so Keith Nicolino. Say it again?
Nicolello.
Yeah, Ceriello. He comes to one of them, and he's got in this little plastic bag.
I love it.
He's got this paperwork, right? And it's what you just showed. And so he's referencing it the whole hour, 2 hours we're there. In this document, it says we do this. And this document, and this is the beginning document, blah, 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 ladder 30, so proud of it, blah, blah. So meeting gets over. For most of these meetings, I just sat in the corner and took notes, and then afterwards, we kind of put all that together. So at the end of this meeting, I go up to him, I go, hey, Nick, Keith, any chance getting a copy of that? Absolutely not. So I go, what the hell? And don't see him for years. Okay. Do you remember when we had Medal Day at the tennis academy? And I guess it was during COVID. Remember we had it there?
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm in uniform, one of the members in Rescue One's getting the medal. And as I'm walking in, Keith had just retired. And I walk right up to him. Now, he probably did not remember that I had asked him it. I walk it up to him. I go, I know you got that document, and I want a copy of it, like that. And I walk away. That was it. Okay. Maybe a month later, God is my witness. I'm teaching a class in New Jersey for the New Jersey State Chiefs Association. Vinny Dunn's there. Forget who else was on the panel, but great panel. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting, someone else is speaking. Who comes and sits next to me? Keith. And he goes,
Here you go.
No
way. Awesome.
He gives me a copy of it. So I take it, and I'm like, Keith, thank you. He didn't even stay for the classes. He just leaves then. So I was like, holy Jesus, right? So I take it, and I show Vinny Dunn. You know what Vinny Dunn tells me?
What?
I remember that document.
Really?
He goes, when you were a new lieutenant, you could buy it for a dime from ladder 30.
No way.
Yeah. And in it, so in one of the, again, we talked before, you mentioned how they didn't maybe follow the science, but they understood empirically what was happening on the fire ground in a very, very tremendous way.
Yeah.
So it talks about project fires, and it actually says in there that the engine company will have the door from the stairwell into the hallway partially opened. In other words, they were closing the door down on the line as it was advancing to keep the smoke out of the hallway, because everyone knows in those buildings, people are not staying in their apartments.
Right.
They're coming down
They're
the stairs.
leaving.
Yeah.
Now, this is obviously way before September 11th. People, when their building's on fire, they don't understand what a fireproof building is.
Obviously,
and they want
before
out.
we had evacuation staircases and stuff, before we dictated all that, right? I mean,
Right. So it's an incredible document.
People who live in the buildings don't know. My mother-in-law lived on the 12th floor. Well, what if I have a fire? What am I supposed to do? I'm like, stay in your apartment. It's a fireproof building. What do you mean? I can't stay. I'm like, stay in your apartment. It's a fireproof building. Yeah, people don't know that.
Like, let the building work.
Yeah.
Right. So So
interesting.
It's incredible stuff. But that document is really everyone should read, because then you have to realize it goes from that to 69, where they kind of flush it out, and then obviously we've changed it through the years from there. Interesting point though. So some of the stuff I talk about tonight might seem a little new to some people. Okay, fine. So how was Ladders 3 in 1969 accepted? Again, This was like new material. And the reason it got traction, John O'Regan was in the ladder 30. But at the same time, John O'Hagan was commissioner in chief of the department at the same time. He wanted the chiefs to go to colleges and become more educated. When O'Regan came to him with Lattice 3, where it dictated what position you had and what tool you take to that position, depending on the building, he loved it. He thought it was brilliant, and he pushed it up, and bingo, it went in department orders, and now it's going to go not just from Harlem and South Bronx, who was kind of doing that anyway, it was going to go job wide. Well, Vinny Dunn told me, because when some of the things I talk about later on about KO curtains and high-rise nozzles and everything, and the members of the department are starting to push back, saying, why are we dropping the curtain? What are you, nuts? He said to me, when Lattice 3 in 1969 came out, John O'Regan in the firehouse got calls like this. Who the hell are you to tell me what tool to take and where to go? You're ruining the job. Click. Yet, we know that's the Bible of tenement firefighting. And it wasn't accepted then either. So you just have to know new things in the fire service are always going to be challenged until you push them through and make sure that they're sound and they start operating on the fire ground. Who today would challenge that Lattice 3?
I was just going to say, I cannot even imagine.
No.
Like, that was like gospel. Like you know what to take every, like you do. You're the OV and a taxpayer. Second due. It was so easy to know where you were going and what you like. What did they do
before that?
We don't even ask that question enough, Coos. We don't really ask that question to those
before
guys.
that. Though, every area would do things their own way, right?
Correct.
Certain parts they would do the things their own way according to what buildings they had. They thought that they were doing, the right thing. But you got some guy who's in Queens calling up a guy who's in Harlem. What are you telling me what how to do? It's in Queens. You know what I mean, or whatever it is.
Exactly. So now just think about that, right? A standardized operations makes sense. For instance, if you go back to the Metal Day books in the 50s. Now, I'm not saying Metal Day books are always the best place to get truth about what happened. But
maybe embellish truth, a little embellishment. That's all.
Right. You'll hear things like they won't say roof man, outside vent, irons. They'll say Captain O'Flaherty had firefighter so-and-so ascend the roof, and firefighter so-and-so went to the fire escape. In other words, the officers were pretty much telling
people where to go,
what to do until Lattice 3 standardized it. That's basically what that. And there's other departments out there that still don't like too much standardization because the chiefs feel like they're losing power then. And that's not true, because a chief can always deviate any member to do anything if he sees that something needs to be done. But with the chief not being there and the company's first, second, and third dude just say, and everyone kind of knows their role, think of how many fires, if a chief doesn't say 2 words, it gets done.
They're going to go out. Yeah.
Right. That's a much smarter way.
And it takes more of the burden off the officer when these guys know where they're going, what tool they're taking, what they're doing.
Yeah. So that's it. So, but that's an amazing document, and Keith, he's out there. I know. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. In fact, a good program for you guys might be Lattice 3.
Yep.
And have Keith come on and talk about that document and how it goes into 69 and then what it is today. So, all right. So now let's go to the candles real quick. So if we look at this,
wait, Tank's not in there. Tank's sitting in it. There's an empty chair where Tank is. Let me get it. What?
Okay.
What, Ruff? What's going on with our health today, bro? I don't understand.
So this is just to understand the legacy fire versus the modern fire.
What number are we up? Other candles. Okay.
It's it's number 5. It should be number 4.
There we go.
Yeah. So if you look at the single candle on what to everyone's left, right? I could put my hand over that, right? Not a big deal, right? I could hold it there for a little while. The temperature of that flame is probably somewhere, just say for argument's sake, 1200 degrees F. All right. Yet, if I were to take the 10 candles on the right, put them in a circle, and concentrate all those flames, could I put my hand above that? Probably not. At least in a couple seconds, you're going to pull your hand away. If I check the temperature of those 10 candles, what do you think the temperature is?
The
Same.
same.
It's the same as the single candle. Exactly. It's the same temperature, but it has 10 times the heat release rate. And the heat release rate of a modern fire is exponentially more than the legacy fire that the brothers in the war years fought. Now, make no mistake about it. I am not saying that the fires in the war years were easy, simple fires. They were not. They went to a lot of them. They were horrific. They were flashed over conditions and everything. All I'm saying, though, is the potential in the modern fire environment that all three of us have been involved. I came on in '88. You guys are right after me. We were in the modern fire environment, in the '80s. All right. Just know, though, our tactics were based upon the war years, and that was a different fire. And that's why what I'm about to go through and what all the research the FDNY has done is it's all about understanding that modern fire and understanding what Braidwood said. What did Braidwood say? It's the air, not the fuel load. It's the air that comes to the fire, because the fire can only burn in direct proportion to the air that comes to it, not what the fuel load is. All right?
So, John, just a quick thing. If you were in 1977 or 1968 and you had, you didn't have horsehair, but you had more natural, let's say.
Yep.
And you did what I've always been doing, which is you get there, like you said, here comes your water, you take the glass, you vet as you go, right? Is it only because that stuff didn't, like I've seen that video where they light the horsehair on fire and it takes like 17 minutes for the thing to get to that point. And now, you do it in a modern and it takes 2 minutes to do that. Is that only the issue?
The next slide is going to help us understand that. But yes, what it is the legacy fire was more forgiving in the sense that if I mistimed, if I didn't coordinate, if I made a mistake, it still was, it didn't take off the same way the modern fire does.
Right.
All right.
Mistimed.
And here's the
go
other
to the
thing
next slide.
You talk before we get there, but you're talking about with the fuel load, right?
Yep.
The fuel load is a given; it's not changing, right? The only thing that can change is the amount of air you let in.
The chemical, right?
Because if you close that door, eventually the fire will put itself out; it'll burn itself out, right?
For the most part,
right. So the only different thing is allowing more air to hit it, right?
100%.
Right.
And then there's another little component, and the next slide will explain that. So the one on the left is what you and I, we were probably taught in Proby school. There's a bell curve, right? Fire ignition, there's growth, it's fully developed, and as it runs out of fuel, that's why they call it fuel-controlled fire, it starts to dissipate. That's a fire if I take a couch and put it in a parking lot and light it on fire. That's what it will do. The problem is, we're not fighting too many of those couch fires in parking lots, right? We're fighting the fire inside the building.
Right.
And the minute you put especially our synthetic combustibles inside a building, but even if it was your legacy fire, it's still going to do the same thing. But it's more pronounced with our modern fuel load. What happens there is we have ignition, we have growth, and then because especially the more our buildings are sealed up, wintertime versus summertime, but even thermal pane windows and everything and insulation, the fire will, like you said before, Kevin, it will go out. It will start to diminish, right?
Right.
And as it starts to diminish down, right? If you let it go and you never ventilate, it would probably go out. And we've all been to those fires in a project setting.
Just smoldering.
Yeah, you get into the bedroom, the mattress is gone, but there's no fire, right? Everything's black. That's what happened. Now, here's the problem with the modern synthetics. As it's degrading, as it's losing temperature, losing pressure, it's still off-gassing a
tremendous. That's what I was going to say. It's not just air. It's the actual chemical of it can't be just air, because that would be the same thing in the heyday. It has to be the chemical coming off of what's burning now.
Right. So when you warm up, 200-300 degrees, your modern synthetics, they start to off-gas, which is raw fuel. And so now you see the curve going down, and then what happens there? Change in ventilation, right?
Then you give it air.
Right. Fails. We open the door, whatever it is. When it takes off, look how steep that curve is. See it, how it's straight up?
Yep.
And notice how high the peak of it is. It's higher than the one on the left. That's not by accident. That whole time as that fire is diminishing, because it's lack of air, when it does light off, it's horrific. And it takes off very rapidly. And that is where our firefighters are getting caught flat-footed. They're not anticipating that severity of the fire taking off. All right. And then obviously, once it goes to fully developed, it's going to then run out of fuel and then it's going to burn down and away. Now, Jack Mooney, when he was at The Rock and Jack was in 102 truck in the 80s, he would go around and he would do all the close call stuff. And every fire that was a close call, it kind of went like this. Chief, everything was fine. We were searching everything. And then all of a sudden, the all of a sudden is that sudden spike straight up. That's what it is. That's what the modern fire does. It's not forgiving like the legacy fire. That's the biggest takeaway, of what happens between the legacy fire and the modern fire. It's all about how that ventilation control fire, a vent limited fire, you should always assume when you get off a fire truck in the modern fire era, you should always assume it's a vent limited fire until you figure out that it's not. Because by doing that, you're always going to be ready, for something catastrophic to happen. Try to control, if you're searching ahead of the line, do we ever search ahead of the line?
Sure.
Yes.
Of course we do. So when you're doing that, control the air to the fire. That's all it is. If it doesn't mean you can't cut a roof, you cut a roof, but maybe before you pull it, are they operating the line yet? Even vertical ventilation, horizontal ventilation should still need to be coordinated. All right. It's all about the air to the fire. So,
Are you talking about when you say air to the fire? Is that so? You're saying, I know that again, towards the end of my career, they were talking about this, and they were kind of doing this with the roof. So, wouldn't vertical ventilation be great for that, or that's not? I mean, without having to be totally coordinated.
It depends, and this is what it depends on. So, think about this: has the modern fire load changed from the 50s till now? What would you say? Yes, right? Has the size of our ventilation holes changed?
No.
And now, why haven't they not changed? Because you can only pull so much. You can only,
there's only so much roof.
You can always expand a hole, but once you get 10-foot flames out of a vertical vent, you're not getting near that hole unless you, prop up, a piece of the roof and get in there again. But normally, a guy will go cut a hole somewhere else. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is vertical ventilation is good. However, just understand it makes a really efficient fire, because when you pop the top, you're going to let more air in down low. So like if you're at a doorway and the neutral plane, and we'll talk about the neutral plane in a minute, is halfway down. When you pop the top in that room, what's that neutral plane going to do? It's going to bounce up. It's going to get lift, right? That means more air is coming to the fire. And what's going to happen with a modern fire is you're going to get a short period that you're operational, and then the fire is going to overwhelm that vertical hole, and it's going to get much worse. So that's why you still need to coordinate your vertical ventilation, just like your horizontal ventilation. I'm not saying you don't do it. I think it's good.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if you have people in there, the best thing I always felt. I mean, you've been in there. I've been in there. We've been in there. When somebody pops the roof, it's like it's incredible. And that's your best opportunity if somebody is in there to save somebody.
Right. But if there's no line coming, you're only going to make it worse. It's good. Again, you'll have an operational time, and then it's going to be much worse. So if you don't get everything searched and you get driven out of there, what good is that?
Well, if you get in too deep, and then
I was just going to say, in your when you're looking at all this stuff, what time are we looking at? I know it depends, but I mean, are you looking at a minute? You're 2 minutes? Is it 5 minutes?
It varies so much on how long that vent limited fire has been brewing, where the vent hole is, how much air you bring to it. Is it a window? Is it a door? Is it deep in the apartment? Is it close? It's too many variables. But I would say, you're talking 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes, somewhere in there. Think of the Rob Weedman fire. You remember that fire, right? And, again, Rob's a great guy. Prospect Place fire. They vertically ventilated that, like 42 square feet. And what'd that fire do?
Came at him, chased him out.
At him.
Yeah.
Because the line was moving to the rear, but it wasn't in the front. And when it lit off, it lit everything off. You know, so that's the point there with that. But we can get into that deeper. What's the next slide? Number 6. The good thing about science is that it's true whether or not you believe in it. I'm not trying to make a political statement with that. All I'm telling you is that the science is real, it's solid, and just remember, from time to time, when we learn new things, we will tweak things. You know, every 10 years, the FDNY should be going through all of its books, be it high angle, like think of all the equipment in high angle rope rescue that's changed, right?
Changing it all the time. Kriegry, to this, to that, to this.
So it will morph in time, no doubt, but the science itself is sound and solid, and it's based in physics. And that's all I'm trying to make with that point. So if you talk to Vinny Dunn, and I know I'll bring up Chief Dunn a number of times, but back in the day, do you think a flow path is something that's new?
I would say probably not. If they were talking
word,
about
for us,
maybe the word was, but the concept wasn't.
No, can't be. That's what fires do. Back in the day, they called it the draft of the fire. Okay, if you read some of the early books that Vinny wrote, they talk about the draft of the fire, and they're 100% correct. There's an air movement, can be a draft. The problem with the word draft is it could be a draft stop or the draft of a boat. Or the draft coming in a window in the wintertime, right? There's a number of different things you're trying to describe with the word draft. The engineers started using this term flow path, and we adopted it. Not because we wanted to confuse people, but we wanted to make it fire specific. So when I say flow path, Louis and Kevin know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain it. It's the flow path, right? So if you show the next slide, here we're talking about where the fire is and where it wants to go. That's the flow path. And that's based upon pressures. As the fire heats up, it creates pressure. And usually the pressure is going to be an outlet in that building, be it a door or a window, except when what? When might a window not be a low pressure to when a fire creates pressure? When wind is hitting it. Other than that outside of the building is why the heat and the smoke and the fire wants to go to that place.
That's why you see it blowing out the windows.
Right. So now, when I make this statement, tell me if it's a correct statement. The fire was looking for oxygen. What do you think?
The fire was looking for oxygen.
Now, back in the day, I would have said absolutely, because that's what we were told, right? How can something look for something if it doesn't have eyes? It's not looking for anything. As the fire grows, temperature and pressure, right? Temperature goes up, pressure goes up. When the pressure goes up, it's just looking for the least path of resistance, right? If it's inside the building, if it's starting to eat up, and a modern fire is going to eat up a lot of oxygen a lot quicker than the legacy fire, right? So you may get that black, ugly smoke, right? It's hot enough, there's enough fuel, but there's not enough air until what? Until it gets to that exterior spot and then maybe self-ignites. And now that's why guys would say, see, it went that way. It looked for oxygen. It's not what it was doing.
Johnny, I see that in a lot of, I see these guys, I don't know where they're from, but they have like this little wooden house, right? And they make like, whatever it is, it's actually incredible to me when I watch it. It's a dollhouse, and they have like little windows on the second floor, windows on the first floor, and they have something on the top of the roof. And they're able to slide open these spots, right? And the guy can keep the fire going. Like he shuts it and it goes out. And then he opens this and he opens this. And then you see like the smoke start to pick up. It's picking up. And then boop, all of a sudden it lights off. He doesn't do anything and it's on fire. Then he shuts it and he does this and he goes back and forth like multiple times. He could, I guess, like you were saying before, where it's decaying inside because there's no air, and then he just cracks it wherever. And I get that part. I get that part, but I'm always back to the balance of we still got to go in there, right? So it has to be like, where's the balance between we kind of know what's going on, but we still have to try and save somebody if they're in there, right? Like,
but it's the 3 C's, right? Control, coordinate, communicate. Right. This is what we're supposed to be doing on the fire ground. So yeah, there are times, and even our books do say that if you see something, you hear something, you can take that window as an OV and go in. However, you're taking the risk of pulling the fire to you because you have a known life hazard. That's acceptable. That's not unacceptable. That's acceptable. But when you get in that window, what's the first thing you got to do?
Close the door.
Right. Get a door shut. So. These are all the things that have to be going through, and that's where the science does kind of match up to all this.
So again, I guess we've done that. We've always done that, but we never said it in that. We just closed the door, but we never said it. The reason why we were doing that. I mean, we said it so the fire didn't come to us, but we weren't saying it in the way you're explaining it, right? I mean,
but Louis, that's how you were taught because of the companies you were assigned to. Okay, now if you look at VES, vent, enter, search, right? And what's the newer version of that? VEIS.
I don't even know.
Wait, everybody made a big deal. Oh, you add an I. What do you got in mind? Like,
what is it? Vent and entry inform or what is it?
Isolate.
Oh,
isolate.
Okay, and search. Okay, now, why did the FDNY add the I? Here's why. We had one document, lattice 3, that said you make entry in a window. You start your search. If you find a door open, you sweep the hallway and shut the door. But you start your search once you get in the window, okay?
Right.
Then years later, lattice 4, which is the private dwelling document, right? What did it say in there? Get in the window, get across, and get the door shut right away. Okay, so guess what? Chief Galvin, again, a brilliant man, making decisions because he's the chief of training. That's what a chief of training does. Hey, Kevin, what do you think? Hey, Louis, what do you think? Hey, John, what do you think? Okay, guys, I digested over the weekend. Here's what we're doing.
Make it all one. Yeah, make it one.
So what he said was, we're going to change the document so that all of our documents say the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah,
Get in the window, get across, and get the door shut, and then you start your search.
It's the easiest search, too.
Right, exactly.
It's the easiest search.
And for every future generation of FDNY member, we want the I in there. Done. You know what I mean? It's not that hard.
I didn't even know that. I didn't.
That's not that hard to figure out. That's Chief Galvin.
Here's the other thing that I thought of. So you're taking the window, whatever. You suspect life, and the door is open. You don't know if the people from that apartment left their door open. So the second you take that window, you may be putting the guys in the hallway in deep shit.
So
flow path, right?
That's why every ventilation point in the building can have an effect somewhere else in the building. And that's why when that OV is going in that window, he should make a transmission. I'm taking a window, making a move. Bam. So that now if things change somewhere like you're talking about, Kevin, at least they understand why.
Right.
As opposed to, oh, shit, the fire just took off on me.
Yeah, just took off on me. Right.
Right. So, and then also, we, just like a roof man, when again, at the Prospect Place fire, right, the roof man touches the center skylight, right? Hits it, black smoke comes out, hits it again. The whole thing drops straight in, and he gets fire square coming out that. Okay. Now, if you open up a roof and you got heavy smoke under pressure, and now you go to the rear to check for any other occupants or whatever you're doing, and you turn around, and now that went from smoke under pressure to fire, that should be another transmission because something's changing, and the brothers who are inside the building need to know that.
Yeah, they can't see
and if we're flowing water, if the engine's on the top floor flowing water, and you still have fire blowing out a skylight square, what's that tell you? The water's not getting where we want it to go.
No, it's not hitting the fire.
So that's how.
Well, they haven't gotten to it yet.
Right, and that's where command can start to put the pieces of the puzzle together to try to make some decisions. But if no one says anything, roof's open, and they never make another transmission, you'll never see that change. Right. So these were all of the things as we were going down this road to research with the FDNY, all these things that we were trying to insert into the books to get people to just be a little savvier on the fire ground.
Right.
Just be a little sharper and a little better so that the coordination would happen between everyone and maybe we'd have more successful outcomes. That's what it was all about. So the flow, even, you know, and that convected current in that last slide, you know, kind of shows you that when our gear is very good at handling like radiant heat and conducted heat. But when you get into a convection current, when that hot gases are moving past you, it's the reverse of wind chill in the wintertime. Your gear is going to get overwhelmed very quickly. And that's why, so if that fireman on the left there, as he's moving in, he closes the door behind him, he may be in a more smoky mess in there, but the convected current won't be there.
It's not because it's not going through the door. I got you.
Right. It's got to have an inlet and an outlet. And if it doesn't have that, it can't move. Now, how does the convection oven work?
I'm keeping the fucking door open.
Well, it depends, right?
I'm talking that shit open.
Right. But if it's bad enough, if you consider closing that door, you're probably going to survive and be able to search more of that space than you would if you leave it open. Because if that fire grows and drives you out of there, the victim you haven't found yet, you just sealed their fate. You shut the door, control that ventilation, you'll get more search. Now, they're going to be in trouble either way.
Yeah.
But if you light the room off, what's their chances then? Slim to none.
If you light the room off, you're in trouble too, bro.
You could be in trouble too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm out on that too.
You're out of trouble. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm out of trouble.
Absolutely. So now go to the next slide. The next slide is very interesting. Okay. So this is another terminology.
Oh, no, wrong one.
That's 210. This one, yeah, neutral plane. So again, here's a name of something. Okay. What is a neutral plane? When we look at a building from a ventilation point and we see, you know, air pulling in low and hot gases, either smoke or fire coming out the top, that line is the neutral plane. You can see that at a window. You can see that at a door. But when we were on Governor's Island, and this is the second research that we did on Governor's Island in the townhouses, this is what we noticed. If you approach a front door of a building, you pop that door, take a moment. Back in the day, the senior guys would say, let it blow, right? So you take a moment, let the fire react, okay? You pop the door and you have a neutral plane, okay? Air pulling in low, hot gas out top. Where do you think the fire is? It's on that floor, okay?
Oh, okay.
If you have a hot, soupy mess, like the picture to the right, lower one with the fire blowing out the basement, see that hot, like, smoke just kind of coming out floor to ceiling, but no neutral plane?
Right.
But let's say you couldn't see the flame there, the fire's below you.
Right.
And if you have the top one there where there's just like wispy smoke, but not really, it's probably on the second floor.
Right.
So that's something we learned.
You know what?
At
That's
Governor's
not
Island.
bad. That's not a bad.
Right.
That's a great thing because you do. I never was taught anything about reading smoke like that. What you just said.
Exactly. So
I've seen that many times like that, but
we've learned this by accident at Governor's Island. We did not plan to learn that, but as they were doing basement fires, we were all like, "Well, let's see if it does it again." Oh, Jesus, look at that! It looks the same.
Why is the smoke doing that, John, on the right?
Okay, because what's happening is that front door is pretty much a unidirectional out because the fire's getting air somewhere on the basement level. Okay, so that's the low intake, high exhaust. When you have a neutral plane, what happens there is that fire on that same floor, it's pulling air in low and pumping air out top. And as the neutral plane starts to drop, that would also tell you that you have a fire that's accelerating. It's getting worse, not better.
Yeah, but I tell you the truth, I like the one on the left better than the one on the right.
Wow, wrong and right.
You do because you want to know where the fire is, correct?
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now, the air that fire is getting on that main floor there is going to kill everybody in there.
Yeah.
So, Louis, I totally get what you're saying. And I don't think a vented fire is necessarily a bad thing because you know where the fire is. But you have to say to yourself, a vented fire means it's getting a ton of air.
Yeah, it's going to get worse quicker.
Accelerating, it's getting worse. So the victims who are in there, their clock is ticking more rapidly.
Right.
And that's what you have to realize. And a lot of guys, I know I've had this argument, but when I don't know where the fire is, I'm in there, it's a soupy mess.
I was just going to say, I would vet as I go. I mean, honestly, if I heard water flowing, I would vet as I was searching. I mean,
but you just said it. you heard water flowing.
Yeah.
But what if you don't have water? You know that. Let's say you're a truck and you're by yourself. You're going to be venting as you go.
I mean, early on when I first started, I think I did that more than, as time went on. Obviously, I didn't, but I think that was kind of like you just took glass. I mean,
I agree, but I think at times you might have gotten lucky.
Yeah. Oh no, I know that.
Right. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that the science would say if the line's not there, the engine's not there, you know what? We're going to control ventilation to the best of our ability. Let's get the water can on it, right? Let's get a door shut and let's search what we can reasonably search, in this moment. So that's that. All right. So
I did always say I wanted to see where the fire was.
Right. No, I don't disagree. I just understand that vented fire. Got to remember too, when you're in a non-fireproof building, a vented fire is eating that building up.
Yeah.
The soupy mess is stumbling on itself. It's not able to create the thermal threat to start eating the building up the same way. All right. So that's that one little nugget there with that neutral plane. That's showing
pretty good, man.
That's science good. Can help you see things in a different way and help you make better decisions.
Are they teaching that? Like,
Yeah.
Yep. that particular thing that you just, that's a home run.
That slide is in.
That's a home run.
Yeah. Right.
I think what you have
that's
to
legit.
change the way you guys think, because they get taught, okay, I'm the force military. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. Instead of looking to see that things may change a little bit. Maybe you're not doing that. But right now we are in such this is what we do every time. This is what works for us every time. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to look around and say, it's always the guys that stop for a second, size, like a true size up. Like, what the hell's going on here?
There's a reason why you don't run on the fire ground. There's a reason why senior officers are so valuable, right? They're the ones maybe pulling the reins in a little bit on the young bucks. Guys, take a look. There were officers back in the day that would never put their gloves on until they got in front of the building because they want to take that moment. What do we got? Okay, these are all solid, sound, intelligent things. Because it is all about sizing things up properly. Like a 360. If I have a private dwelling and you can get eyes on all four sides of the building, that's obviously a home run. But you can't always do that in New York City. But do we have one member that'll probably get eyes on the back of the building? Yeah, it's going to be maybe an outside vent. Maybe a guy up on the roof can look over the rear. Or maybe you as an officer tell the chauffeur, hey, can't find a fire. I need you to get to the rear and just see what you got. You know what I mean? There's ways that we can still do a 360 without personally doing the 360.
Right. Well,
but you got to get eyes on all sides of the building.
Special units coming in always have that advantage. You coming in, you get waiting for the chief to put you to
work. I don't think you're not getting any pushback on that. Right.
No,
I mean, I know you get pushback on stuff, but you're not getting pushback on any of the stuff we discussed so far, right? I mean,
I
for the most part,
it was funny. I did some voiceovers a couple years ago, and I basically told them, I said, listen, they're tired of hearing my voice, so let me get a couple senior captains, and they can do it, and it'll add a different sound.
I mean, everything we discussed just now is. I don't think there's anything that you could really push back on, really.
These captains said when we can't teach the 360. And I'm like, what are you talking about? If you have an opportunity in a private dwelling in Queens to do a lap, you wouldn't do it quick? I said, okay, I'll do it. I did the voiceovers. So they got my boring voice.
I hear other guys, because I look on YouTube for little clips all the time. The officers do that a lot of time. They'll take a whole lap around, first to officer. Before they go in a building, while they're stretching a line or whatever it is, they'll take a lap around. How long did it take? 30 seconds?
Exactly. It's a smart thing to do. Now, in a row of brownstones, you can't do that.
No, you can't do that.
But someone can dart in an exposure, get to the rear, and see what you got.
I mean, most of the time in the FDNY, I could understand maybe somewhere else. But in the FDNY, I don't know we got so many guys. I mean, by the time you pull up, the truck is there. You could, even as an engine boss, you could tell the OV quick, do me a favor, let me know what's going on in the back right now. In a PD area or if there's alleyways or shit like that.
Right.
But in other areas, obviously, you're going to be by yourself. So,
you should have. You should have hired Gilbert Godfrey to do the voiceover. Ouch! The walk around is killing. Oh, break my arm.
Remember he took a shit in the firehouse that time?
At Squad 18?
At 288, he came in. He took a shit in 288 and then left. Just left.
He came to Squad 18 one time. He was
No
out running.
shit.
I guess he's got a problem.
He had the, what do they call that? Explosive something
I
or
don't
other.
know. Yeah.
Crohn's disease, maybe. I don't know.
Doesn't make him a bad guy.
Nah.
No, not a bad guy. He's funny. All right. All right. So again, the science. Next slide. Why it matters. Okay. So tragic. Richie and I work together in Squad 18. You work with him, right, on Sheffield.
Yes.
Just a super guy. Funny. I remember he was flying the Engine 18, and they're not. Engine 8 Squad 18, Engine 18 is not doing a lot of first due work. It's the West Village of Manhattan. He asked me. He said one day, "Hey, John, I got an opportunity to go to 103. What do you think?" I'm like, "You want to go to first due work?" He's like, "Yep." I go, "Bingo. That's the place to go." And we know what happened, but that's what Richie was, a hard charging guy, and he wanted to learn his craft. And I will always remember that. And kudos to him. So in this particular fire, some of the things that I just talked about, a ventilation limited fire, right? So as Richie, now why, Richie and the members of 103 make a real aggressive move to the basement of that building. Why was that? One, there was a fire.
There was kids party.
Right. There was a report of 6 kids in the basement. Okay, hold that thought. A member, and it doesn't matter who it is. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. I would never do that. One member goes along the 4th side of the building as they go in the front door and drop down. He goes along the 4th side and takes the basement windows, all 3 of them. Why do you think he did that?
To give the kids a chance if they were in there. I don't know, maybe.
Okay, and we were also taught that. You think you got a fire in the basement, the one way to check is take a glass of the basement. So he does that. Now companies are in the rear. I think it was 332 and 107. They're in the rear. They pop the rear door. So think about it. The front door is open, right? Door down to the basement. The windows get taken. I don't know about the window in the front there. I don't know when that failed or was taken, but the windows along the 4th side are taken, and the rear door is popped. Okay?
And they could see the fire.
What's a vent limited fire going to do when you give it all that air?
Take off.
Going to take off. Now, Engine 290, a good engine company?
Yeah.
The best.
They couldn't get down the interior.
They could not.
And I'm going to explain why. Now, there's a line at the rear door. Why didn't they flow it?
Well,
because they thought they were going to hurt the members who were in the front of the building.
Correct.
Right? We don't do anything to hurt our members.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't flow the water. Now, if you understand a basement fire, the dynamics, when you open up a basement fire, especially a rear door, and you have the front door open, the rear door is going to act and the side windows are going to act as a major source of air, and it's going to use that interior stair as just an exhaust port because it's above it. Does that make sense?
Yep, like a chimney.
And that's why 290 couldn't get down the stairs, because no one's going down those stairs at that point. Right? And you can't put the windows back in on the 4th side. You maybe could close the rear door, but it's still probably not going to make a difference at that point because the windows are gone. My point is this. If you understand low intake, high exhaust, and that plays a role in a couple fires I'll mention later, you'll understand that you got to control that ventilation on the basement until the line gets down there, flows some water, then you take all that. Then you open everything up. But until then, if you give that fire that's vent limited in that basement a ton of air, and then you think you're going down the interior, no bueno.
So you know this, in that job, Richie and the boss, they were the first guys down. So the stairs went down right from that door. It went down 3 or 4, 5 steps, platform down right there, and then there was a little L that they came along the front of the building, and then that entered into the basement, right?
Yep.
So Richie was right at that spot where he could almost see into the basement. And Dave Barry, the boss, I don't remember exactly the whole scenario, how it worked out, but they decided that the engine, it started to really take off. So they were lower than where the guys were on the stairs. So now the engine started to come down the stairs, and there was a lot of crap on the stairs again. It's always the same story. And they kind of got stuck there,
right.
and then got crazy hot, right? And Barry, at the time, Lieutenant Barry,
Yep.
said we're gonna back out and regroup, try and clear some shit off the stairs, and then let the engine come back down.
Right.
And Richie was actually pushing. So Richie was behind Lieutenant, and he was actually had his hand on his back as they were going up the first flight of stairs. And once they got to the top, Lieutenant made the turn, went out, came out, and it was chugging out of there already.
Yep.
And then when they got out, he went, basically that quick. Where's Rich? And himself, Will Downey, he's in Rescue 2 now.
Yep.
I mean, a mountain of a man. And a couple, I think, I don't know if it was Monday or somebody else went down there.
Yep.
And he was down there. And, we practiced this, in firefighter removal. It was as if he was nailed to the floor. Like they could not get Dave Barry's a big guy. They could not get him out of there. And then Rescue 2, those guys switched out. I think the guys from Rescue 2 went down there. I think it was
Danny Murphy, I think.
Danny Murphy. Murph.
Yeah, Danny Murphy.
Woody, maybe. And Woody.
And George Jakumovic, who's in 2 now. He was there. He was working in 252.
And those guys couldn't, I mean, it just took, but like you said, it just switched on a dime.
So now, again, so that line at the rear, should it have opened up or not?
I mean, in hindsight, probably should have, yeah.
At that point, it should have
So
opened.
what I would tell you,
They were afraid of pushing. They were afraid of.
Right. So then have you ever seen the water mapping prop at the Rock now? It's a room with half the walls up are plexiglass. Okay. Well, it shows you when you move down a hallway, make a turn to room, whatever you're going to do, or you're going to flow water from a window, whatever you're going to do, it shows you where the water goes because you can visually see it. Whereas, in a fire, you have no idea where the water's going. You're just whipping it around. But it shows you. Now, there's times you want to create a pressure front in front of you and push things out, especially when you have a vent opposite the fire. And maybe other times, like you're at a rear door, and in your mind, you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm concerned about moving any gases towards the members who are operating in the front. So you know what you do? You do an upside down U off the ceiling, nice and slow. Don't go like this. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to put the fire out. You're going to make conditions throughout the whole basement better. And maybe we can get Richie out a little bit sooner. And maybe we can administer, a cyno kit to him. And maybe Richie survives. Now, I personally think Richie's injuries are probably going to succumb to that anyway. But we, as a department, didn't understand all the science and pressures and water flow. And that's made us not make a decision to flow water. The officer in that engine, that I think he was concerned about that for years. Did I do the right thing? Did I not do the right thing? He did the right thing based upon, if I'm on that nozzle, I probably don't flow that water either. Because in 05.
And that's where the seat of the fire, I think that's where the fire originated. It was in the back.
It was right there.
It was right there.
Before we mentioned this, is this a true statement? No 2 fires are alike.
True.
No 2 fires are alike.
True statement. Okay. And I agree that's a true statement. However, many fires have very, very similar fire dynamics. For instance, Cherry Road in Washington, D.C., 1999. If you don't know that fire, all the firefighters listening, you need to know that fire. Guess what happened there? Members go in on the first floor. Fire's in the basement. Members go around the rear. They take a window, just like they opened the door on Jerome Street. They had a charge line there. The fire's right in front of them. Members are dying on the floor above. Dying. Again, low intake, high exhaust. So you're going to get a lot of air pulling in, and the stairs and the first floor are just an exhaust. They're burning to death, and they wouldn't flow the line. Not because they don't want to make things better, because in their minds, they're going to hurt those members up there. Those members were dying, burning to death. Flow the water. Put the water on the fire. And then there's one in Diamond Heights, San Francisco. Basement fire. 2 members of San Francisco's fire department. By the way, another fantastic fire department, just like Washington, D.C. These are good fire departments. They are in a hallway, and windows fail in the basement below, and they find them in that hallway dead.
Wow.
But you're saying
with the nozzle.
like
With the
guys
nozzle.
so pushing fire.
Yep.
Is a possibility, or is there no possibility? Like
Okay,
you're saying,
so-
not to do it the normal way. So does that mean if you did it the normal way, you could push fire, or not?
Here's the thing. Right now, it's a very sensitive subject. There was a fire a week ago in the FDNY. They're going to investigate it. That's all I'll say about that. What I've learned of all of the experiments we've done, and we're probably not going to be able to cover it tonight because we're going to run out of time. But we'll come back and do another day. We're going to talk all about exterior streams and pushing fire. And what it comes down to is it's very hard to do. I'll never say zero. If I take a fog nozzle in a 30-degree fog and stick it in a window, you're probably going to create enough pressure front to move hot gases out of that room to somewhere else.
Somewhere else. I got you.
But if you do a straight stream off the ceiling like this,
kind of doing what you're saying,
you're putting the fire out and you're not pushing it.
Are guys learning that, John?
Yes, 100%. And that water mapping, you guys really should come out there one day. Yeah. I'll tell you when the next boot camp is because I'll be teaching at it, and I'll show you what they're doing. You'll love it. It's really, really good, really good stuff. But the bottom
you know what?
line,
you don't got to open that line for long. That much water flowing through there.
I have a slide that we'll go over, and you'll be blown away by the numbers. And you're 100% correct, Kevin. 100% correct. So let's go to the next slide. And that's the low intake, high exhaust. And this kind of is a very simple graphic to help you see it. Should be number 10.
I think the other guy's sleeping in there. Timeout.
And this is all about a basement fire. So the one on the left is showing you if I control my ventilation in the basement, right, I can probably go down the interior because although the fire is not good at pulling air down a set of stairs, it will do it to some degree. But that fire in that basement, when there's no ventilation, is just going to be a soupy mess. It's never going to really be able to light itself off.
Crazy.
To really hurt everybody. So you can get down those stairs, put the fire out. However, the one on the right shows you if someone is not coordinating their vent and they open that door, now you're going to get unidirectional flow of air into the fire and then a unidirectional flow up the interior stairs and create a very dangerous situation for anyone on the stairs or on the first floor.
So obviously that's similar to that picture you showed before where you're going to have that line in the window on the left, like the two pictures we looked at. And then in the other one, you have that soupy mess coming up the stairs at you.
Correct. Exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's where that's what the science shows you. That low intake, high exhaust is really.
And how many of those have you done? How many times have you seen this over and over, similar, same thing over and over again?
Right, exactly. And here's another one. The convected currents that come up the interior stairs on a standard fire, when you have a low intake, high exhaust, you know what speed the gases coming up the stairs hit? Anywhere from 15 to 18 miles per hour.
I was going to say, is that?
It's ripping. Anything, gas is moving at 18 miles an hour. You're not outrunning that. And again, remember I told you the convected currents. Yeah, remember, I don't know if I mentioned it. How does the convection oven work? You familiar with that at all?
Yeah, I know, make my French fries in there.
I know.
Okay, so if you cook a turkey,
my air fryer,
at 350 degrees, right? And in conventional mode, no convection.
Oh, it actually, that's why you hear the fan. It fans it up, right? It speeds it up.
It actually lowers the temperature, but the air movement cooks it in half the time.
No
So that's what happens when you're in that convected current. Your gear is not designed for that, and it overwhelms it quickly, gets through to your skin, and when firemen are on fire, they will make bad decisions.
Yeah. I'm out
and
on that.
That's what
that would be if anybody's on fire, they'll make bad decisions.
Exactly. So, but that's what the understanding of controlling ventilation and understanding what that fire is going to do and everything. The reason is to prevent the firefighter from being on fire. Because when they do, they're going to PSS out windows, or they're going to jump out windows and forget they have a PSS on, or or whatever. Or in some cases, the FDNY, they crawl into a ball, make peace with their maker, and that's it, right? So that's what all of this understanding of fire is all about, is to prevent those events to the best of our ability.
Not to cut you off, but do you remember the fire we had over on what used to call it, Pollock Alley there that night where the guy fell on your leg? That's what happened to us, right? We went down. They had just polyurethane the floors, and we went to the door. You're supposed to go down the hall, all tenement, and we started pushing the line, and it came around and it came out the other door, and
in the hall.
On the hall, and John Ielpi was in the fetal position in the corner because it was
fire was blowing over.
Blowtorch, and all you saw, the chief saw from the street, was our line, our rig, and then a wall of flame between us. It was just
and Brendan wouldn't give me the nozzle.
And Brendan wouldn't give you a nozzle. He had, and then a guy fell on your leg from 140.
And the guy.
So what made things better there at that fire? How did you change?
They opened the 2.5 in the street.
They opened the 2.5, hit me right in the face, and knocked my face piece off.
That they flowed an exterior stream into the fire area.
Yeah.
Correct.
And did it make things better?
It did.
It allowed us to turn the line around and then go into the door where the fly was, and we can watch it down.
And we put the fire. First of all, we all tumbled out. It was totally orange. I mean, I remember. I say this. I don't think I remember saying what you just said. Talk to your maker. I remember seeing the newspaper that says "Firemen die in Maspeth Blaze."
Yeah,
that's what I remember seeing that. I swear to God. And then everything went black.
I'm glad.
I mean, totally black. Yeah. I was happy with that too.
Hey, listen, I have a theory about fire in regards to, let's say, for instance, what police officers are up against. Right. Similarly speaking, emotionally, you're gonna, when there's a threat to you, you're gonna react to it probably in a negative way. But I really think fire is something that is ingrained in all of us evolutionarily. Every creature on the face of the earth runs from fire.
Right.
So even some of our savviest guys that are very good at understanding fire and controlling things and everything, but if you get hit with that kind of heat, I think all bets are off. And the reason I say that is, 1992, right? That was the one year we were talking about before about losing all these guys. Tommy Williams is the officer in Rescue 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Seasoned guy. We were just talking about him the other day.
He came on the job in 62, the year I was born.
Seasoned. As seasoned as they get, in rescue.
Through the war years.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Milner will tell you about that fire. Mike was, they were getting a portable up to the second floor.
Yeah.
That was a wind-impacted fire, by the way. If you look at the fire report, they believe the wind kind of hit the front of the building and the fire lipped up. There was a line operating.
He didn't talk about that.
And went in the second floor. He gave a mayday. Moved to the front of the building, hit the sill low, and went out onto the sidewalk. There's a 30-year member through the war years. What's that tell you? That
you're going
it
can
happen to any of us.
Yeah.
I don't care how much experience you have.
Yeah.
It can happen to any of us. So, again, and that's why it's important to learn from those mistakes. All right, ready? So now this last slide is what Kevin was just talking about. On one experiment at Underwriters Laboratories, this was the stream study. They had one room on fire. They had two rooms on fire right here. Ready? So now just look at these real quick. When we have the green, one room, no vent, and it's gallons per minute on the side there. Look how many gallons you needed to put a fire out that you didn't have that wasn't vented. Under 100 gallons, right?
Yeah.
Now one room vented. Okay, now the fire, like we talked about before. Okay, I know where the fire is, but because it's getting air and it's accelerated, it takes more water. Okay.
Almost.
Now look
gallons.
Now look at two rooms vented. Okay. Now we need even more water because we got to put one room out and then go across the hall and put the other room out. But look at the maximum number, 257. Two fully involved rooms flashed over. Even when they didn't do because this nozzleman, as he did each of the experiments, he got a little bit better each time. But the first time he used 257 gallons of water, and that put two rooms of fire out. So what does that tell you about our booster tank?
You can knock it down.
A lot of fire.
You got to use it. It puts out a lot of fire. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the reason I love showing this, and then if you look at the two, one room vent with transitional attack, two room vent, transitional attack, look how little water you use because they were knocking the fire down from the window for 5 seconds and then going interior to finish it off. Look how little water you used. My point on to show here is the New York City Fire Department knows what they're doing. And I would never say engine companies should not get a positive water source because that's part of your job. However, every once in a while, you got one room going good, but dump that booster. Get that water on that fire quickly, and then you're not going to have a second alarm. You're going to have
as soon as you hook up to a hydrant anyway, that tank will fill up in 10 seconds. So
exactly. But good chauffeurs, I'm not saying anything people don't know. A good chauffeur will do that.
I mean, I always remember hearing the boss saying, "Give me booster right away." Give me booster right away.
Yep. We had that fire in it was on Knickerbocker, and George Jakumovich, who mentioned his name twice tonight, he was the chauffeur in 252. And as we're going up, I can just hear the chatter on the radio. Things are not going well. And I looked at George. I said, "George, don't come in the building until engine ops are squared away on the exterior." 10-4. What happened there was the first due engine, he set the parking brake, got out and everything. When he went to hook up to the hydrant, he was short a little bit. So he gets back in the rig, moves it forward up against the curb. He never sets the emergency brake again. What's the engine going to do if the emergency brake
can't go into pumps?
Bingo. And so now they're upstairs and the fire's taking off.
And he don't know what's going on. He can't figure it out. He's running around the rig.
Right, he's freaking out. And George went up to him. And I remember George telling me, he looked him in the eyes and he could see, this is
Coops always did that. He always makes sure that we had engine water first at every job.
As a squad chauffeur, if we came in as a truck, I would run right to the first due engine and make sure he had water.
Exactly. And that's what every squad should be doing at every fire, making sure the first due squared away. And when you have a problem with the engine, what do you do? Go back to square one. And that's what George did.
You could definitely see that it would be easier for somebody like, let's say Coobs coming in, that guy right now. He's totally, he can't see anything. Right.
5 minutes of fury, bro. That's what they call it.
I mean, but you can have somebody come in just with a clear head, just out of and it just seems like it's easy to see, because you're not panicking, obviously.
And here's part of why this fire dynamic is so important. If I miss it, but you won't, Louis, and if I and Louis miss it, you won't, Kevin. You know what I mean? We have this layer of safety in the FDNY. We're very lucky. You think about it, the first two officers, some are experienced, some are not. An inexperienced company, but with a great senior man who's very experienced, or a crew that's
we have a lot. We have a lot to lean on.
You overcome all those things. But listen, I miss things on the fire ground all the time. It happens, and it's nice when you have guys going, "Hey, Cap, you see that? Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, bingo, got it." Or battalion chief comes in. Hey, hey, engine 236, you guys good or whatever? Okay, there's layers of safety. And then the deputy comes in. Then maybe the safety chief. That's why I think we're so successful. A couple guys can miss it, but not everyone's going to miss it.
And here's the thing,
at least sometimes.
Even if you don't have that much time on the job, or if you're a probie, don't be afraid to say something if you see something.
Right,
I'll give you a quick story. I had to be maybe a week in 210, maybe a week. They're going to take me out and show me. We're gonna flow some water, So we do it. Stretch along, we flow some water. We go back to do it, and he can't. I was a senior chauffeur. He gets in, and we can't. We're not driving anywhere. We can't go anywhere. He's like, the fucking rig won't go into drive. I don't know. Now we sit there. All right, the officer calls the shops. Fucking sitting there waiting for half hour, an hour. I go to him. I go, "Hey, aren't you supposed to take it out of pumps? Otherwise, it won't drive, right?" So he flips it over. He goes, "If you ever say another word about this, I swear to God, I'll fucking kill you." So even as a pro, you could say something if you see something, even if it's.
Yeah. I did my 30 days in 103. Paul Buffer was the boss.
Oh boy, yeah.
I remember when they said, "Oh yeah, you stand in the telephone booth." I'm like, "What? What do I do on the can? Right? There's no door on it.
Yeah.
You're just holding on for dear life. Just screaming around the streets.
Especially them, bro. Holy shit.
We go to a job at Wyoming picking. I'll never forget it, right? I'm a can, I'm the probie with the can, I'm trying to keep up with Buffer. And we get to the front of the building. There's fire blowing at the front door. There's a civilian over the wrought iron fence, in front of the building like that. And I look at him and he's like, "Don't worry about him," Okay. So now we go in, can't really get in until 290 knocks it down. I guess 175 must have been first due because we were going upstairs. And we go to move in, but we can only go in a little bit. And we're standing on the door of the occupancy. It was like a 3-story frame. And the floor's spongy. I'm going like this. Hey Lou, the floor, it's spongy, right? I'm a probie. You see something, you feel something, you got to say something. It's come on, bam, up the stairs he goes. So what do? I follow him up there, right? We go up there, right? We do our search and everything. 29 does a great job, knocks the guy down.
Guy under the door.
We come down, bingo. We come down, we lift the door up. There's a guy like this. It was a firebomb. And
the guy tried to get out of the floor, yeah.
And I just remember, and then you know what he said to me about the guy in the wrought iron fence?
What?
John, he's out of the building.
Yeah.
Somebody will get to him.
Yeah, I would say
Right.
the same thing.
There's people upstairs that are still in harm's way.
I wouldn't even look at that guy.
I probably, if he didn't say anything, I probably went over and tried to get the guy up off.
Yeah, I wouldn't even look at that guy.
No,
Same
he's
thing.
fine. He's out of the building.
Yeah.
He's good. We don't got to worry about him.
Just crazy. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
And we're warped. We're laughing about it. But anyway, so that's your basics on fire dynamics. I mean, listen, we can go into this all day long, but that's kind of like the simple basics that we're teaching the probies, and it's in our books, and it's going out to everyone. It's very interesting. When I mentioned to you, I think before, when we were George Healy and I were teaching this at the Rock, and some guys were pushing back on the curtain and everything. I mentioned it before how Lattice 3 was not received and in the same way, but now it is received and everyone's getting it. And there'll be little tweaks here and there, like where the roof man goes and stuff like that. They change that, but for the most part, it's pretty solid and we're moving forward. Now, how did we come to this point? And how the hell am I involved? I barely get out of high school. And I always tell guys when I teach this, I've never been the smartest guy in the room. I was 412 on the captain's list, And by the way, I want to clarify something from my first episode. So when Chief Galvin made the call for me to be promoted, I was the last guy. They were at 411. They needed to promote one guy, and I wasn't tied with anybody. It wasn't because he liked me, although I think he does, but that wasn't what it was for him was, John, you did all this work for us in what we're about to talk about, right? The wind impacted fire research. You did all this work for us. And if we can't extend it one more guy, the next guy I go to get to help with a project and
tell you this.
So well, Ceriello didn't get any pay, I'm not doing it. Like that was his feeling there. It wasn't just, hey, yeah, just promote Ceriello. No, it was he did all this hard work. We should take care of him. Right. And so I thank Chief Galvin and obviously at the time it was Chief Nigro and I think Kilduff was the chief of the department. But
Ed,
Eddie, yeah. The way that went down was, so they're at 411 and it's like Thursday and Friday of that week. And Joe Jordan calls me, he goes, John, relax. They're making decisions. Who knows what happens? Or let the weekend go by. I can't sleep. I'm working in 252. I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to have to study for captain again. This is nuts, right? So Monday, I remember Tuesday, right? Tuesday was going to be Billy Quick's plaque dedication at his firehouse, right? And I was going to go to it, but I was so beside myself. I'm like, I can't believe this. I'm like, I'm not going to go. So I call, I think I emailed Chief Galvin. No, I texted Chief Galvin. I'm like, Chief, who do I got to go see Tuesday morning at headquarters to plead my case? And all he said to me was, I'll take care of it. And what he does is he just lets them know, whatever I'm doing. I think I might have told the story, but he just lets them know. And then at that day is, Nigro turns to Kilduff and says, hey, should we promote, what should I do with Ceriello? Galvin texts us at 3 a.m. He goes, I think you should promote him. So I thank Chief Galvin, Chief Nigro, and Chief Kilduff.
Nice.
So, all right. Next slide. Just go. So now let's talk about wind impacted fires, right? We know there's a whole listing of fires.
We got about 10, 15 minutes if you want to figure out, and we'll go to the next, we'll do another part
so
2.
I'll start it real quick and then we'll Is there any good questions coming in?
I did have one.
We got some people talking on there, yeah.
Okay. So if you want to, I'll just go through these and then we'll go to the
I'll find it and then you talk.
So just so you know, guys always say to me, Ceriello, what'd you invent the wind? I said, no, I didn't invent the wind. All right. But we had been having challenges with wind impacted fires for years. Like you can see on the left, 1980, 30 Montrose Avenue in Brooklyn, right?
The
One
Williams
dead
fire.
civilian, whole bunch of firemen burnt up. Right. Then if you go down a little bit, the 4020 Beach Channel Drive, that's Jimmy Williams. 77 Vandalia Avenue, we know what that is.
Yeah.
Lincoln Plaza, right? That was the Lionel Hampton fire that burnt up a whole bunch of our members, right? And then that 06, that's the really term one. If you look at 12606, that's a fire. Notice the address from the 96
Same.
fire.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Building.
Right.
And that fire.
They don't get any wind down there, do they?
Oh, exactly,
at the beach?
Exactly right.
Wow.
And it was the same wind. Remember I said before, no two fires are alike?
Yep.
This basically was the same wind hitting the same building. It just happened to be 3 floors above where Jimmy Williams died. And a member crawled into a ball to die. And because another member made
I remember that. I remember he pulled him out of the hallway. I remember that. Yes.
Now, where did Jay Burns take his area of refuge?
The department across, right? I think, if I remember right.
No, the apartment
The
on
adjoining?
the same side of the hall.
Adjoining? Yeah.
Okay, and now why did he do that?
That's the way the wind was. That the way the wind was?
No, because when you have wind hitting a building, and there's 2 apartments side by side on the same side of the hallway, they're both getting pressurized in a similar fashion. Fire cannot, and this is the physics of fire, cannot come out of one apartment, go down a hallway, and go into
the other?
a similarly pressurized apartment.
No
Why?
shit.
Because that fire is looking for a low pressure. In Vandalia Avenue, what door got opened? Opposite. That's because that's a low pressure side of the building. High pressure to low pressure. That's what a fire does. Not because it's looking for oxygen, because that's the physics of what a fire will do. Now, how did Jay Burns know that? Because the members of 121, before and during and after Jimmy Williams fire, they taught their members, don't wait for things to go sideways, because they always do in these buildings. Get an area of refuge on the same side before it gets bad. And that's what he did. And when he heard the commotion in the hallway, he looked out,
opened the door, and saw the guy.
went out,
Wow.
got him and pulled him in. Now they had no UL, no NIST, but they had empirical knowledge of fighting fires in those environments.
Did he get the Tony Bennett for that? He did, right?
He did. Yes, he did. He did.
Good for him.
Yep. Yep. So,
You see your question there?
okay, Captain, what would you say is the most important point of fire dynamics you would stress to new firefighters? I would simply say, I kind of said it before, every fire you go to, consider it vent limited until you've figured out that it's not. And that way you're going to control ventilation. You're going to, until the water is ready to go on the fire. And if you do that at the majority of your fires, I think you can have successful outcomes. So just by understanding what a modern vent limited fire will do, will allow you to make decisions. Like, that's why we changed in our books that the inside team, if they're going ahead of the line, they make entry and they leave some at the door and they close the door behind them. One member stays at the door. The other 2 members go forward to search. And when we did the test at the Rock, whenever there were members left at the door, when things went sideways, like this was training, and they would say, okay, mayday, 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 everyone out of the building, the members always got back to the door. He could do a head count. Me, 1, 2, go out, shut the door. We're good. We have accountability. When you let everyone search and no one stayed at the door, when it came time to go, they almost never got out.
Yeah.
They were bouncing off of walls, getting lost in kitchens and stuff like that. So it's just a better way to manage the fire by understanding. Once the line goes in, then don't worry about it. I missed that. What was that?
That's my old lieutenant. He said, He said, I talked to Ed, Lou. He said, call him Chief.
Okay.
He's
was that Chief Kilduff?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a long story. Yeah.
Unless you're Louis, then you call him Ed.
I don't call him Ed. He told me to call him Ed. I said,
Great.
That ruins my story, bro.
A lot of those chiefs back then were all just tremendous individuals. So real quick. So that when that 06 fire happens, how much time we got? Couple minutes?
Got some time. Yeah.
All right. When that 06 fire happens, George Healy is a newly promoted battalion chief. He watches the inner pain of one a window frame, the inner pane fail, and then the exterior pane fails. The minute that exterior pane fails, mayday, mayday, mayday on the inside. All right. Sal Cassano was chief of the department at the time. The next morning, he calls Jerry Tracy, and Jerry had been doing his own research on wind-impacted fires. He started it like when the formation of the squads, like 98, 99. And he had gone up to Ottawa, Canada, and learned about stairwell pressurization and everything. And then what happens in 01 to our beloved department?
Decimated.
September 11th, sidetracked all of that, right? We're, again, similar to the Warriors. We're in survival mode, trying to build the department back up. And by the way, you two guys had an integral part of that, as well as myself, of all those years. Like, think about, remember rebuilding the rigs and the equipment and training and getting new members into SOC and everything. I mean, it was an incredible endeavor by everyone. But he calls Jerry, and Jerry goes, yeah, I've formed this relationship with Dan Majikowski at NIST. He goes, well, call him because we got to figure this wind impacted stuff out. And I get a call from Jerry, and he says to me, you want to go to Toledo, Ohio? And I'm like, the hell's in Toledo, Ohio? He goes, we're going to blow air into a building and see if we can pressurize stairwells. I go, who's doing that? He goes, well, the job's going to send us. I'm like, really?
I'm in.
Okay, I'm in. And that's it. And off to Toledo I go with George and Jerry. And that's where I meet Dan Majikowski and Steve Kerber. And we're having Jamie Farr, who was Klinger in the Mayor's episode. He's from Toledo, and he had a restaurant. And they sold hot dogs. Nice. So we're having hot dogs and beer. And Dan's talking about neutral plane, thermal interface, flow path, right? All these things. And I'm going, what the hell are you talking about?
You speak Chinese to you.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, well, I teach the FDNY. I go, what do you mean you teach the FDNY? He goes, oh, yeah, I teach the fire marshal classes. I said, are you kidding me?
Fire marshal classes.
That's at Hooper Street, right? I live not far from Hooper Street. A month later, Dan's in New York City teaching the next probie class of fire marshals. I walk over there, I sit in on the class, and I'm blown away about what he's teaching them and not the firefighters.
Right.
Insane. And that right there is the beginning of all of our research. That Jerry Tracy.
And before you know it, you're in Honolulu. I don't know what happens to you.
So I'm gonna ask you one question because it just popped into my head, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is older contents compared to newer contents. But what do you say to guys that say they had wind in 1955? Why was it different? Is it just the contents? Because obviously flow path was happening then. Is it the contents that are changing things there?
Okay,
or what?
I have a theory. Okay, and here's how it goes. So if you notice that list of wind impacted fires, the first one I have listed there is 1980. Okay, polyurethane foam. And by the way,
that's what I'm saying. It's got to be the products.
Ready? 1959, 23 engine lost a man in a fire on Central Park West. And all it says when you go to the man library and look at the line of duty deaths, all it says is the fire, when they popped the door, the fire came out of the apartment under pressure and it killed him. I personally think that's a wind impacted fire. However, I tried to get historical weather data from that day, and it just, in 59, they just didn't have it yet, So 1973, 75, somewhere around there is when polyurethane foam comes into existence. The industry says that when something comes new into like furniture, the world of furniture, right? It takes about 10 years for it to get mainstream into your buildings and your apartments. So I do believe what you're thinking right now is that the modern synthetics become very rampant in the late 70s, early 80s. And with that, we start seeing these vent limited fires that exponentially take off. Now, once you add a little bit of wind, it gets really.
But that's what I think you got to go to, John. I think that's what the issue is that the Neanderthals, the cavemen, even myself, 10 years ago when we first heard about this, right? My first, guys say, well, what about the wind from 1969? What about those guys, right? Yep. So getting back to what we said, it's the wind, obviously. But when you got wind on a horsehair blanket as opposed to basically gasoline in a pillow, right, or a couch or something. That's
frozen gasoline.
Right, and I'm sure I'm just taking it from what I heard. I'm sure you're doing this to make sure this comes across to the guys. But in the end, the wind just helps the contents that are there now. That's really, I mean, in what we talked about earlier, in my mind, that's what it is. Because the wind is, when I hear wind-driven fire, all I think about is the wind part. I don't think about, I mean, obviously you have to think about the wind, if I'm making sense, if I'm not rambling. But
you are.
I think it's the contents that we really have to really be keying on. I've obviously the flow path and all that smoke reading, and I think that to me, I will go to that class. Like, I wish I had that class 20 years ago. That's, to me, that's
100%.
I would imagine that the thermal pane windows also play some part.
Yeah, right. That's another thing. Right,
a lot
cool.
of things.
No, they do, because
That's
what
changed.
they do is they thermally and air entrainment, coming through the window on a windy day, it seals that off. So that fire in there that's brewing is able to brew more. But if you leave it alone, it will go out.
Right.
But usually what happens is someone smells something, the smoke detector goes off. The next thing you know, the fire department's notified, and we're en route.
That's another good point.
Right. We're going to point.
And at 69, the glass broke. By that, a single pane broke already. So when the guy showed up, it was already blown out the window. They didn't have to worry about path so much initially, maybe.
Exactly.
That's another big.
It's amazing. Now, what's really funny is the thermal pane windows. They did a test between single pane windows and thermal pane windows in a furnace at UL, and what they found there was the thermal pane windows failed sooner.
Really?
But for a different reason. Okay, and here's the reason: the single pane windows, the glass is thicker, it's set in dum-dum, and it's able to expand in the wooden, window frame.
Right.
So it kind of hangs in a while. Okay.
Interesting.
Whereas what happens on the thermal pane windows is, they have an inert gas in between, which actually heats up and expands, but they're locked in a matrix because they're more.
Right, they're glued together. Yeah.
Right. And so when that glass expands, it ends up not having a place to go and cracks and fails. But that's in a furnace. What happens in the real world is the exclusion of air of the thermal pane windows creates the vent limited fire on the inside. So you have to put all of this stuff together for it to make sense.
I'm glad I'm golfing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I've been working on my swing too in my retirement.
Nice. Come on up.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I absolutely will.
So what do we have to look forward to in part 2?
Okay, part 2, we went over our basics of our fire dynamics and everything.
Right.
Part 2 is going to be Governor's Island 1 and 2.
And our video.
And all the things we learned between the two.
And our video.
It'll be magnificent. I have tons of video and everything.
Right. All right. So do me a favor, guys, because we don't get many comments. I don't know why you guys don't comment. Comment on this show, what you liked about the show, what you learned about the show, and what you want to learn on part 2. Before we get going, we need Tank.
That was pretty good, John.
Commercials.
I like it.
Oh, I had a great time. I really did. Learned a lot. But of course, we got to get paid, So Tank, roll those 2 commercials. Let's do the.
He's not there.
Collectors Club.
Is this on overtime?
It's on.
You should have been on the road already, kid.
Yeah.
Traffic's
building. Boom.
Being that we are winding things down. I think
Yeah.
I might just have to take a minute. But hold on. This is a fine tequila. Ocho single malt estate. Very nice. Very so. However, I need to fix it a second. Hold on. Wait.
He's writing something on there.
We're gonna change it from Ocho to Uno.
Uno.
Numero uno.
All one. Uno.
Nice. I like it.
And we'll have a little taste.
Are you in
of that.
Bed-Stuy right now?
I am.
Yeah. Hold on a minute. Yo, Hammer, I need you to play the 2 commercials because I can't. My thing is locked. I don't know why. Let's play the Collectors Club
Yeah, man.
and
Salud,
the
baby.
NFRC, whatever it is. Yeah.
We lost him.
You got that, Tanky? Do it.
We at the Gettin Salty Experience are excited to announce the launch of the New York City Collectors Club, a brand new spin-off of the FD Collectors Club dedicated exclusively to New York City firehouses. Here's the deal. No more worrying about stopping by a firehouse when the crew's out on a run. And no more rolling the dice on questionable patches and coins off eBay. With this club, everything you receive is 100% authentic, straight from New York City firehouses. And the best part? A portion of every subscription goes directly to firefighter charities each month. Now, because you're a part of the Gettin' Salty podcast community, you'll get 50% off your first month. That means you can join for just $14.99. All you have to do is use the code Gettin' Salty at checkout. So if you're a collector looking for something real, meaningful, and straight from the source while giving back to New York City's best and bravest, the New York City Collectors Club is for you.
Here we go. And, of course, NFRC.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
There we go. And tonight's old school health and safety tip is something I just learned, Ruff, that walking is a hugely underrated form of exercise. I got a thing to take my steps now, and I'm taking about 18,000 steps a day, and I've lost 1 pound a week so far for the past couple
Good to keep the yang up.
It's also good to keep the yang up, even though there's nothing wrong with my yang.
Ain't nothing wrong with my yang. Oh, hold on.
Can you hear us, Cap, or no?
We lost him.
Cap, can you hear us? You can't hear us. I don't know what's going on with this. I'm going to sue me.
I think we need two new interviewers.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So listen. Anyway, next week we have Christine Mooney, the wife of firefighter Mooney, who died on Rescue 2. We will see you. We'll have some pictures also of the boat cruise. And until then, you know what I'm saying, Ruff. Stay low and go.
And taking a Speedo.
Yeah, and taking a Speedo. And thank you so much, even though I don't think you can.
I don't know why.
All right, we can hear you. We'll talk to them off the air. All right, we'll see you guys next week or on the boat cruise. Some of you guys in the chat. Until then, stay low and go, Ruff. All right, take us out. Thank you.
We'll see you at the big one, everybody.